My name is Kim Willis. It's my first LinkedIn Live event ever. I hope I don't mess up. Should be fine. Should be fine. In fact, it's the first live event that I've run on any platform in more than 3 years. So probably a little bit rusty, but it'll come back pretty quick. Okay. You like my hat? Yeah, this is my little Panama hat I bought. It's got Cambodia. Oops, where is it? On the side there. Cambodia. Because that's where I live. Peter lives in Thailand. I'm in Cambodia. My sons are in Vietnam. Goodness. And all of us are originally from Australia, including Peter. All right. Okay. Well, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for the thumbs up there. Well, let's get started. I've got a little bit of a slideshow for you. But before I start, perhaps I'll just give you a little bit of background. I've been using storytelling techniques for a very long time. In fact, it started when I was 18 years of age, and I was knocking on doors. This was in Sydney, Australia. I was knocking on doors, trying to sell books, okay? Trying to sell, there were health books. I don't know, they were selling for about $60 or something like that. And I wasn't doing any good with it. I was struggling big time. And so after 2 weeks of knocking on doors and getting doors slammed in the face, or when I did get access to the person's house, I did my little presentation trying to sell these books, and guess what? No one bought. No one bought from me. And I was feeling a bit despondent. In fact, I was thinking maybe I should quit. I'm not really cut out for this selling gig. So, but anyway, the sales manager phoned me and said, "Hey, how you doing? You've been out there for 2 weeks. Doesn't seem like much is happening." And he said, and I said, "Well, yeah, I've knocked on, I don't know, hundreds of doors and not even close to a sale." He said, "Okay, well, let's see if we can fix this problem. And what about I meet up with you next, I think it was Monday or something like that, and we'll go out together." Bang, bang, on the doors there. And I said, "Oh, okay, that'll be great." Now, in one sense, I was excited because he was the #1 seller of these books in the world, right? But in another sense, I was terrified because he was #1. I felt I was going to be hugely intimidated. But he made the offer. Very few people would get an offer like that from a man of his stature. And so I accepted it, and, chewing the fingernails in the lead up to the Monday. Met him on the Monday, and he said, "Okay, well, let's find a street." And we just jump out of the car and we start knocking on doors. So, right, okay, start knocking on doors. And after about 15 minutes, a nice lady let us in to their living room and sat down, had a little bit of chit-chat, and then pulled out my presentation folder, and away I went. And, after about, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that, it was a firm no, and that was the end of it. Right, okay, another no. So out we went into the street, and he said, "Okay, well, let's just do one more. We'll just keep knocking on doors, and we'll see if we can find someone else that'll let us in." And yeah, maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes later, we gained access again, sat down, did the presentation, and before you know it, I got another no. So this is in front of the world's #1 seller of these books. So yeah, left the house with him, and then he said, "Look, let's go and get a cup of coffee. We'll regroup, and then we'll come back." And actually, he didn't get the cup of coffee. He said, "Look, let's keep walking, but the next time we get access to a house, I'll do it. You watch and learn, and tell me what you learn." So that's what he did. That's what we did, and a little bit of time elapsed, and we got access to another house, and he led the presentation, did the presentation, and as luck would have it, a sale was made. So we collected the money, did the paperwork, and then out into the street, he said, "Okay, now let's go and have a cup of coffee, and we'll do a bit of a debrief on this." So that's what we did. And so we sat down at, I think it was McDonald's or something like that, and he said, "Okay, tell me, what did you notice that was different compared to what I did compared to what you did?" I thought about it and I said, "Well, it's pretty clear to me that #1, you asked a lot of questions. I didn't do that. and you listen to the answers and you responded accordingly. And number two, you tell some great stories. You make a point with the presentation folder and then you illustrate with a story. And I wasn't doing that either. So that's how it started. And that's how the big turnaround for me started. And within, and then so, you know, he bid me farewell. And then the next day I went out and started knocking on doors. Didn't make a sale that day. But a day or two later, I made my first sale, and then I made a bunch of other sales after that. Why? Because, you know, it was crystal clear to me as to what I needed to do. Ask more questions and tell some great stories that are relevant to their situation. So that's how it started. And so my experiences as a storyteller just continued to multiply over really decades. And then when I got to the point where I decided I wanted to do online marketing in 2006, I became an online storyteller, right? And you know, online is more about content than anything else. It's more about, you know, video posts and text-based posts and so on. But I was telling stories, telling lots of stories. Email, I was using email, I was generating leads and sending emails to people, telling stories, story after story after story. And originally I started as an affiliate marketer. It was a high-ticket thing. And after I crossed it was a commission basis program and based program. And after I crossed my first $1 million in commissions, I started to rethink things regarding the online world, and people were asking me, how are you making all these sales, blah, blah, blah. So I started teaching them. And I was doing it for free initially, and then over time it became obvious that, you know, I could develop another income stream. So that's basically how I got started. Age 18, and all these years later, I'm still telling story. Yeah, someone says, a similar backstory to Sabri Subi. Yes, I think he's, yeah, I know him. He's in Melbourne, I think, from memory. Runs a marketing agency, etc. Yes, okay, thanks, Tom. G'day, Mark. I said g'day, Mark. Mark, another Mark, Mark Engster, and so on. All right, so that's a little bit, that's the backstory. All right, let's look at the lesson. So we're going to cover the lesson today. I need to get my slideshow ready. There we go. There it is. And there it is. Yay, it all works. The technology works. Fantastic, because I'm a tech phobe, right? Sometimes I ask my son, because he's really good at tech and all this sort of stuff, I ask my son Damien to maybe help out, just make sure in case there's a glitch, but I felt confident that I'd be able to do it because I've helped like Mark McPherson with a couple of his live events. All right, so 7 ways to use stories to influence people. Let's get started. This is the lesson, of course, but I will illustrate with some stories. I can't help myself. It's another slide there. All right, how to cut through. If you can't see this, thanks, John. Thank you. John Green. How to cut through the marketing world in a hazy, crazy world. Get your messages heard, actioned, and funded, assuming you're in the business of generating revenue. All right. Now, here's the new normal for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, and experts. Anyone with a phone or other digital device can start an online business now. Crazy low barriers to entry have exponentially increased the competition in niche industry. The effect, well, dramatically increased competition to be heard, and we certainly noticed this during the COVID period, didn't we? Lots and lots of people sitting at home in front of screens, computer screens or TV screens, but often it was computer screens. The social media giants like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, it's mission accomplished for them. They've succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. We're all marketers now, in a sense. We're doing the bidding of the giants who, in turn, parlay the audiences we've created for them into mega ad dollars. We can promote anything we want on these platforms, ideas, political views, religion, products, and services. The list is endless. But herein lies the problem. Everyone's doing it. It seems everyone's doing it at one point or another. As competition intensifies, here is what often happens. People start shouting at each other. Look at me, I'm the best. For example, marketers are replacing a family pic on their Facebook profile, for instance, with aggressive sales banners. And I've done that, but I don't do it now, but I have done that. More noise, less cut through. Sooner or later, people turn off, they become impervious to your messaging. The shutters come down, end of the game for you. Or is it? Hey, Jeff, you did the books with the Canadians. Right, for 6 months. Great. Great stuff. It's not the sort of thing I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but it was a very good learning experience. Too much shouting, not enough nuance. That's the problem, especially with social media. Soon I'll show you how to solve this problem, but first a word from our sponsor. That's me. Well, look, I sort of bypassed this. I've bypassed this a little bit because I gave you my story. It was impromptu. It was unplanned. But so I'll just whip through these bullet points here. This is kind of going to be my story, but I don't really like doing a story or even doing a LinkedIn post or Facebook post or whatever in bullet point form. There is a place for bullets, for sure, but there's also a place for the narrative, and it's got to be more than bullets. People get sick of it. It's too easy for them to scan and miss the key points that you're trying to make. But I've got this in bullet point form, and so it might go from the book selling thing when I was 18 years of age to the point where I started as an affiliate marketer in 2006, and I did pretty well out of that, and did very well out of it. But on the personal side, in 2011, my wife died, and it was a kind of a tragic situation. And I still haven't fully recovered, even though it's now 2023. I still haven't fully recovered. My sons haven't fully recovered. I have gone public with this, and my sons have given me permission to go public with it. But the last 10 years of her life, she was a full-blown alcoholic. And the effect that it had on the family was immense, catastrophic, and in a way, life-changing. But we still have many fond memories of her because she was a wonderful mum to her kids. 18 months later, my own mum died, and after that, we had a bit of a family powwow. I've got 2 sons, and they said they want to go to Asia for a while to recuperate. I just want to travel, And I said, okay, well, I like that idea. Can I come along with you? So we started in the Philippines because they all speak English there, right? Sort of for a while it was fine, but more exotic locations beckoned, such as Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam. So we ended up in Vietnam, and then I'm now in Cambodia, and I sort of alternate now between Cambodia and Vietnam because my sons are in Vietnam. So there you go. Now, and then in 2015, I launched my first little course called the 10K a Month Formula. It was loosely based on what I was doing as an affiliate marketer. And then in 2018, I developed another course called Tribe Builder Core. By the way, that first course, we only sold 50 of them. But the second one sold hundreds of them. And we used free Facebook organic strategies to run the ads. And Facebook was my social platform of choice. Now I've sort of moved across to LinkedIn. I still do a little bit on Facebook, but not nearly as much. So there you have it. And I got my first 6 clients from LinkedIn, not from content. Not from content. That may surprise some people who know that I'm sort of big on content. But I didn't quite have the content message sorted out with LinkedIn. I was trying to replicate what I was doing on Facebook, and then eventually I realized that LinkedIn was something different. It was somewhat different. It's a serious platform. So I started. But I still got 6 clients. 6 clients in, I think it was 5 months. So it was about 1 client a month from LinkedIn, and some of these were just small jobs, little one-off writing jobs. Others of them were like $10,000 a month, that kind of thing, and it was from direct outreach, believe it or not, just sending simple messages to the right people. But I was still posting content. So although the content itself didn't directly lead to new business for me, it underpinned what I was doing in the messaging side of things with direct messages. So, and I had several of them say to me, they say, well, look, I do want to talk to you because I've had a look at some of the content that you're posting, and I like it, and it makes sense to me. And blah blah blah. One thing leads to another, and then we end up doing a call and a little bit more argy-bargy, and then business gets done. That's more or less how it happens. Since then, that was in 2021. Since then, I've elevated my content, I think, in terms of quality and impact, and I rely more on my content now, but I still do a bit of direct outreach. I like it. I like talking to people one-on-one. Over the years, so this is a little story. I think Peter probably remembers Connie. She's retired now, but this is when I launched that course in 2018. She became an incredible success story. For me, she got 121 new customers just using Facebook strategies as a result of being a good, diligent student of mine. Peter Beckenham, fantastic success story there. He's a legend in his own lifetime as well. Now, told you a bit about me. We've talked about the problem cut through, getting attention and all the rest of it. How do we solve this frickin' problem? All right, well, to me, it's all about influence. How can you influence people to think like you? First step is to embrace content. I'm not saying that content is the only way to do it, but I think for most people it should represent the foundation, especially if you're using social media or email marketing. Obviously, email's got to be, it's about content, isn't it? If you're sending emails to a list, it's about content. Should it be video content, text-based content? Look, I do both. I've done a lot of video over the years from my YouTube channel when I was really big on YouTube. But I still think that the mainstay is text. It's still the mainstay, and then I supplement with live shows. Okay, this is video today, isn't it? It's a live show. Soon I'll be doing standalone videos without any slideshow. Okay, that's great. I love it. But to me, the mainstay is still text. Of course, I know that some people hate writing or they don't think they're good enough, etc., but there are ways to get around the problem. Second step is to become clear about the purpose of content. What is the purpose of content? Is it about more views and likes and, oh, look at me, or look at you, aren't you wonderful? You're getting all these likes and lots of views. Yeah, but is it paying the bills? Is it getting you the result that you want? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. There's a lot of these so-called influencers on LinkedIn, and this is something I learned, I don't know, about 6 months after I started using LinkedIn properly, 2021. There were people that were getting tremendous amount of engagement, lots of comments, likes, hundreds of likes, sometimes thousands of likes on a post. And then one of them, I got to know him quite well, and he one day he opened up to me and he confessed, "Are you not making any money?" I said, "But how long have you been using LinkedIn for?" He said, "Well, 2 years." I said, "You've been using it for 2 years and you haven't made any money?" He said, "No, not at all." Okay, there you go. See, there's a lot of fake gurus out there. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying all of them don't make money, but a lot of them do not make money from social media. But they're getting a lot of accolades, right? They're getting all of the vanity metric thing working for them, but it's not translating into revenue. So what I want is more than just views and likes and things. My role is not about creating content, it's about creating connection so that I have more impact. And that's the thinking that I've got today. That's what I'm saying for you to maybe think about if you're not already there. Here's what happens when we create deeper connections with content. We get quality engagement. We get more engagement than we had before, perhaps, or maybe we get less engagement, but it's better quality engagement, right? Quality content produces quality engagement. That's a rule. We build a community through the threads, through the commenting threads, people commenting on our posts. And we get to know some of those people over time. Advocacy. We start to get a little bit of advocacy happening because they see that what we're doing is special, perhaps a little bit unique, and maybe it can help some of their colleagues. Advocacy. We may get some easy sales, not directly from the content itself, but if we engage with people in the direct messaging, using the direct messaging tool, you know, some of these people have a hunger to solve a problem. One thing leads to another, but what really got it going for you? It was the content. And often they'll say, you know, that post that you published on Tuesday or something like that about such and such, it really made me think, and that's why I'm happy to talk with you today. See? Yes. So, so posture and authority, when I say posture, I don't mean like physical posture, I mean mental posture, psychological posture, and authority. Career or business opportunities, doors can open for you, and on it goes from there. All right. Now, instead of stroking your ego with all these fake metrics, it's better to focus on worthwhile results. So just to reinforce the point, it's about impact and connection. All right, back to the glasses. When you use this approach, your prospects will love you. They'll lock into every word you're saying. They'll elevate you to the point where your clients see you as an expert and trusted confidant. But more than this, you'll become the leader they've been looking for. That makes sense, doesn't it? All right, so I said there'd be 7 story ideas. I've got 8 for you. That's why I've got 7 plus 1. I've got a bonus for you. And you should get plenty of ideas. Some people say, oh, I suffer from writer's block. I just can't think of how to start a particular piece of content, or I just can't even come up with a good idea for content. All right, well, hopefully today, the next 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes, I really motor now, what? 15 to 20 minutes will give you some great ideas. Different story methods and techniques, there's just a few analogies, scenarios, metaphors, story snippets. Stories don't need to be long. Some of them could be 1 paragraph. That's a story, right? Just to illustrate a point. Other stories, yeah, sure, they need to be long. Sometimes you can insert a story into a non-story post. For instance, on the left here, on the right, it's sort of the full post. This is a Facebook post. By the way, I would never run a post like this on LinkedIn because I now know that LinkedIn is not suitable for this type of post, but it worked like crazy on Facebook. 200 leads, thank you very much. But it starts off, so just left-hand side, you can see that. If you love cold pitching, spamming groups and spraying links to your personal page, this post isn't for you. On the other hand, if you have a hunger to attract qualified people who are keen to look up to you, read on. You're going to love this. Picture this. 3 warm leads a day. They're keen and have the money to buy. How many can you convert? Before I set out before I spill the beans, let me tell you what we don't do. We don't do this, we don't do that, we don't spam groups, we don't spam people, blah, blah, blah. All right, but see what I've done there. Picture this. It's the 2nd paragraph under the headline. Picture this, 3 warm leads a day. Okay, that's the scenario. So what you're asking people to do is to open up their mind to the world of possibilities. We're wanting to kindle their imagination. If they're a marketer, they're trying to sell something, 3 leads a day. But I give them a command, picture this. Okay, that just gives you an idea of what we can do within an otherwise non-story post. Now, the first technique is what I call the pick a fight. I'm not going to illustrate every technique with a story example, but because we just don't have the time. But essentially what this is about is where you push back against established norms. Take a stand against current ways of doing business so you stand out from everyone else. It's more powerful than traditional thought leadership content because they challenge readers' assumptions. Your objective should be to move beyond merely presenting a new way of doing business to presenting a new idea to undermining an existing idea. Perhaps it's an idea that your reader holds dear. They believe this is the way things should be done, and you come along and you undermine it. Okay? Pick a fight. Takes a bit of courage to do it, but it can work extremely well. The second category is, and of course you illustrate with a little story. The second category, story idea, or content category or archetype, is what is slice of life. What happened to you today or yesterday? Anything interesting, and more importantly, can you turn it into content that makes a point? Sometimes it's just social posts. I remember the first time I got my hair cut when I was in the Philippines, and it was a barber shop. But the person who cut my hair was what we call here in this part of the world a ladyboy. All right. Now I found this a very novel experience, and it was all good grace and humour and all the rest of it. The person was very funny and had me in stitches, and I thought, hey, here's a great little story here. I'm going to send it to my email list, but I want to turn it into a business point. So I went home, newly shorn, wrote the story about my experience getting my hair cut by this person, but then the person had a great attitude towards customers. She or he did, and great attitude towards customers. So I segued from this amusing story, this happy story, into a point about business and how we look after customers. You see, there's a bridge between the personal story to a business story. Slice of life. Okay. Now, slice of life stories you can pick them up. You can pull them out of things that happened to you years ago. For instance, this one here, Inky Stinky, show us your pinky. After 6 years of abuse, I wanted to, After 6 years of abuse, I wanted to stick it to my enemies, but I did something else instead. I was a sweet kid, I know because my mama told me, but something happened when I was at this new school. I became bully bait. Not sure why. I wasn't a mother's boy. Maybe it was because of the way I looked, sort of probably a bit of a pretty boy, or my personality. So the micro lesson here is that you don't have to fit in. If you're not fitting in, fine, stand your ground. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Stand your ground. And then came the ink problem. A kid flicked ink on the other kids in the class. The teacher was apoplectic and demanded to know who did it. One of the bully boys told the teacher it was me, looking at me, pointing the finger to me, right, to me. The teacher ignored my strenuous denials, and for the next 2 years he became bully number one. A school teacher, imagine doing that. Bully in chief. This explains why I called the classroom the torture chamber or the house of horrors. The bullies and the sycophants that followed them called me Inky Stinky. I can handle it okay, even when some of them followed me home chanting, Inky Stinky, show us your pinky. It sounds kind of funny now, but at the time it wasn't that funny. But at least they sang in perfect harmony. Bravo. Even my friends urged me to fess up to stop the teacher from punishing everyone, because he held us back in class many times because of me, because I refused to say it was me who flicked the ink. But I refused to budge. Message, if you're on the side of truth, stand firm. Anyway, by the end of the second year stint at his class, primary school had finished and high school beckoned. Thank God for that relief at last. Here's another example. This is from a lady that I worked with a couple of years ago, and she's from Sydney, Australia. And she wanted to create some good content for her audience, and she was struggling with it. She wasn't a natural-born writer. But I said, okay, well, look, I'll interview you. I'll interview you, and I'm sure we'll extract some great story ideas, and we'll record it and we'll get the transcript and all the rest of it. So she said, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So I interviewed her, and we got a lot of story ideas from that 30-minute interview. But one of them was about her personal story when she was a kid. And this is the post that we created. I helped her write it. Make Them Cry was the headline. If you're using social platforms, this is the explanation. If you're using social platforms, it's okay to move people emotionally. Perhaps you have a personal story that needs to be told, or it might be someone else's story, or a sad animal story, whatever. They work because they reveal something about you. It's okay to reveal something about you. So, for instance, this is a piece that I wrote for a client, where he's telling me about one of his clients who completely changed his life as a result of becoming a client for my client. And so the headline was this: a life transformed. from a chain-smoking mental train wreck to a life lived to the max. See, so it sets the scene and then the story rolls out from there. That's another example, turning negatives into positives. This is the lady I was telling you about, I mentioned. She's based in Sydney. And so this is the one I interviewed, and then we extracted a number of story ideas, and this is one of them. It's about her experience as a kid, turning negatives into positives. I lost my mum when I was a child. Mum had a severe allergic reaction to penicillin and was dead within an hour. We experienced the full range of emotions and swung from devastation to numbness many times a day. Sorry, it's hard. I've got this little black slideshow thing that obscures some of the text, so I can't actually read it. But the harsh fact remains that, well, basically I can see that they were, that her and her siblings, brothers and sisters, were motherless, and she was 8 at the time. Sad story. I tell you this to graphically illustrate my point, a key point. Life is full of surprises and shocks. When faced with adversity, you can do one of two things, shrink or grow. I chose growth. The loss of my mum was the single biggest setback in my life, and frankly, it still hurts. Yet I became a better person because of it, became stronger, etc. Since then, I've had good and bad times, probably a bit like you. True? A word about business. Now we segue, because she was building a business. I started my home biz a couple of years ago, but although I was enthusiastic about my choice, I soon learned that without an audience, I was doomed. Audience is key, etc., etc. Now, that post, she posted it on Facebook. She got an enormous number of comments and likes. And believe it or not, even though it wasn't sort of a business type post, there's a little bit of a business point at the end there, she got some leads from it. So there you go. You start out with right intentions and good things can happen. Fourth category is make them laugh. Let's not forget the entertainment factor. I don't have any examples for you today. Use your imagination. But look, even if you're the strong silent type, you can learn how to add spice to your content and make people feel good, make them chuckle, put a smile on their face. Right. Number 5 is mind reader. State people's problem, at least the problem they think they have. Illustrate with a little story. And ideally, you'll invoke a response that says, hey, it's like she or he is talking directly to me. Mind reader. It's number 5. Number 6, don't sell, educate instead. Now, educational how-to content is still the mainstay for many content marketers. Even so, small stories can be injected into each post. Another way is to go into full story mode from the get-go. So the entire post is a story, probably based on your experiences. A classic example of this can be seen in the book by, I can't pronounce his name, his first name there, but his last name's pretty easy, Goldratt, The Gold. Now, I read that book. I think I read it twice. Great book. The book was entirely story-based. It was a myth. But the principles that he was teaching were based on fact. And I found that after reading that book, it was a fantastic way to learn through a story, right? From beginning to end, the book was a story. It was a thrilling read and a fictional story. Okay, so you can do all sorts of things like that. Telling stories based on your personal experience is a great way to do it. And if you can educate people at the same time, wow, that's powerful. That's very powerful indeed. Because people love stories. In fact, people remember stories long after facts and figures have been forgotten. This is why, whoops, let's come back here. Okay, it's jumping a little bit. Goodness me. Sorry. Yeah, no sales and then something wonderful happened. I've been telling stories to make money since I was 18. My first sales gig was door-to-door book sale. Okay, so I already gave you that story at the beginning, so I don't need to read through this again. But so that was a story. See, can't help myself. Have to tell a story. I didn't even want to wait till I got to this slide. I wanted to tell you the story from the get-go. All right. Now, stories, as I say here, they can benefit people in so many ways. They can help to enliven your social media content, build a vibrant network, conduct tough conversations. I can't actually read that because this little black thing is covering it. It's a bit of a fault. See if I can rectify that. That's better. Win internal challenges in organizations. Get teams to work together. Create a narrative for the team and get them excited about it. You get buy-in from the team, everything becomes a lot easier. Build a compelling brand, of course. You've got your grand narrative and then you've got your illustrative stories. Grab a dream job, build a brand around you and you get a better job. Win a coveted promotion, transform boring bios and PR blurb into powerful content pieces. Raise capital for your new business venture. Stories can be used in so many ways. Example 2, think of movies, TVs and books, lots of stories, but what about the business world? Starting as infants, we become immersed in stories. As we mature and become adults, stories still infuse our thinking. Humans want to work through stories. It's innate. Maybe you're in sales and want to generate leads on LinkedIn but have no idea how to do it. First step, develop a narrative for your project and map out your customer's journey in story form. Another scenario, you're a manager and want to get noticed by the CEO, but your team has problems. Staff are not singing from the same song sheet. Some resist implementing the transformative program the CEO has developed. It's his pet baby. First up, develop a narrative specifically targeted at staff. Everything flows from there. Okay. Or perhaps you're a coach or a consultant and need more clients. Same thing, develop a narrative based on the typical pain points experienced by your ideal client. Then illustrate every element, issue or pain point with small stories, analogies and anecdotes. The key is to move your audience. Move them, right? Emotionally move them. So don't resist the impulse to tell stories. Instead, fully embrace it by telling a great story. 7th category, almost finished, case study. Everyone loves a story and nothing is better than a compelling customer success story. Now, if you're a newbie and don't have one yet, do what you can to get one, even if you have to work for free. Do some work for the client for free and get a story from that client. Now, case studies. I have a problem with a lot of case studies that I see. In fact, a new connection of mine on LinkedIn, I was looking at his website. I had a look at his website. I often do that. And he had some case studies there, and I had a look at them. And frankly, they're atrocious. Even the data was boring. And when data, even when you've got, it was just, if you're going to use data in the story, make sure it's good data, right? With this guy, even the data was boring. And he didn't tell a story. He didn't bring out the pain. He didn't do the full customer hero story. The challenges that he was having when he realized he had this problem. How did he solve this problem? How did he find the business that solved the problem for him? What setbacks did he have along the way? That's how a case study ought to be done. Not just about data, because it becomes, my view is that when it's just data, right, before and after, just got the figures there, people become numb to it. Why? I don't know. I just think it's inherent in the human condition that we love stories. And so we just glance at it and it's very interesting because I've seen 100 like it just before, just like the one that's looking at now. Right? But if we tell a great story, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a long story, it might be 600 words, not 2,000. If we tell a great story, much more likely that people are going to be impressed, they're going to be influenced by the story, it's going to have impact, and hey, makes it that much easier to make a sale, generate a lead. All right. And then finally, problem-solving process. It helps a reader when you share your winning process. So don't go into a lot of detail. All they need is an overview. The objective is to have the reader visualizing doing business with you, and that's why I like it when people share their process. This is the way I solve. These are the key steps that I take to solve this problem for this type of person, right? And so people read it and say, oh, that's a pretty good process, and they start to visualize, oh, okay, yeah, I could see that working in my business or in my situation. Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. All right, so that's number 8, 7 plus 1. All right. Now the final thing that I've got for you is the hero story. I'll just, hero story, I made mention of it before, but look, I do like the hero story structure. And the goal should be to understand how to craft your hero story. Why bother? To establish you as relatable, likable, and the go-to person in your space. The key is to create a story that resonates with your online audience. Now, there are three important elements to your hero story: your backstory, your outlook and views on business, and your ability to share game-changing insights. Now, all of them are important, especially number three, but you've got to start somewhere, so it starts with the backstory. So we'll just have a quick look at that today. The goal, make it real, honest, relevant, and interesting. Why bother? Well, as I said, it's about relatability. If your audience identifies with you, they're more likely to give you the attention you deserve. And let's say you've got, it's a story for you've got a debt reduction business, or maybe you're a mindset coach or a marketing consultant or something like that. All right, talk about how you are up to your eyeballs in debt and how you're debt free, and then as a result of that, you built your own great story and you created a business for yourself helping other people with their debt, right? So there's all sorts of ways you can leverage stories. Now, every great backstory is built in 7 steps: the results you wanted, summit, the challenge you faced, your internal struggles, your external struggles, the turning point, your light bulb moment, and the muse or coach or guide. Yeah, number 7. So, the result, a happy outcome as the hero, you solve your problem and reached your destination. So let's say we talk about this person that was up to their eyeballs in debt. The result you wanted, to be debt-free by age 40. The challenge you faced, you had a mountain of credit card debt, mortgage debt, student loans. You had internal struggles, doubted if you could ever get out of debt. Internal struggles. External struggles, your partner nagged you daily. The turning point, decided to double down and find a solution to the problem. Your light bulb moment, you discovered a new way of eliminating debt. Your muse or guide, you hired a debt reduction coach who helped you stay focused and not deviated from the plan. And you became debt-free at age 39. You leveraged your result and started a debt reduction business, and you quit your job and made a dream income. How about that? All right, so that's kind of the end of it. If you've got any stories, if you've got any questions or comments, just type them in there, and I've just better take this call. I forgot to turn it off. Hello? Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me see here. Yeah, just if you've got some questions or anything like that, just type them in there, and I'm happy to answer them. Now, some people might ask or think, well, okay, how can we continue on this process? Got some good ideas, etc. How can we continue on with this process? Well, if you want to talk to me, you can, of course. I don't have any sales pitch for you or anything like that. Sorry to disappoint. But really, it's just a matter of opening up a relationship. There are different ways that I could probably help you. I could help you in a small way, a bigger way. It's really up to you. If you want to have a talk, I do have a course that I'm launching soon, and I'd be happy to share some details about that. But I've also got another course idea for something that I want to launch in maybe 3 months' time, 3 or 4 months' time. And so I'm going to conduct a little survey. So I would love it if some people who attended this session would participate in the survey. I think you'll find it very, very helpful. Very, very helpful, this survey, because it will illuminate some of the issues that you're probably experiencing. So if I can help you with the survey, you can help me with your answers, and that will help me create a better course when I finally do it in a few months' time. So if you can give back a little bit to me, I'll give back a little bit to you, for sure. All right. Any other points or comments, questions before we close off? Okay. Thanks, Peter. All right. Anything else here? Oh, right. I missed some comments above. Okay. All right. Yeah, nice comments there. Thanks very much. I love it. Thanks for everyone who participated, and of course others will pick up the replay. All right, well, I think we've gone a little bit over time anyway, so I think I'll close it now. Somebody is waiting for me downstairs, so I better go and let her in, and have a good rest of day, and no doubt we'll be talking to you in the near future. This is Kim Willis. Bye for now.